Bonjour, and welcome to another episode of Cuisine de Michel. I am Michelle, so happy Halloween to everyone out there today. Wanted to make something that you could whip up really quick. Let's say you're kind of last minute here trying to come up with a treat for Halloween here or another time. These are adaptable to anything. It just depends on what you decorate them with, or maybe you just want to make them any old day. These are one of my very favorite treats to make. These are chocolate coated peanut butter balls. So they're a lot like homemade Reese's peanut butter cups. So if you like Reese's peanut butter cups, you're pretty sure to like these. So let's get started. So here in the bowl, I have 2 cups of powdered sugar. To that, I'm going to be adding 1 1/3 cups of creamy peanut butter. I'll tell you that it takes more time to prep the ingredients than it does to actually make these things. Not that there's a lot of ingredients, just a lot of measuring and doing stuff. You'll see what I mean. Okay, just leave that in there for now. And then 1/4 cup of melted butter. Now you can use salted or regular. It does not actually say. Oh, I forgot to say that this recipe is actually on delish.com. I should have given them credit to start with there, although I did adapt it just a little. And then there's 2/3 of a cup of graham cracker crumbs, so you need to crush them up and measure them out. Then we need 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. I recommend using actual maple syrup. Doesn't matter what grade or anything like that. And then 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Now, in the original recipe, it says to whisk this. I do start out whisking it, but it gets a little difficult as we go along. So I'm gonna just start out, like I said, doing that. It really doesn't seem to do a whole lot to whisk it, but I do what it says. Maybe it helps a little. But by the time you start getting it a little bit together, then I usually switch off to a wooden spoon to finish mixing. Okay, so now here in the bowl, this is when it's all mixed up. We're going to be taking this and you can just use a rimmed baking sheet and put some parchment on it. And you're gonna want to make these into small balls. I make mine about just slightly less than 1/4, so kind of like this size, because you don't want them to be too hard to handle, but if you get too big, they can be a little awkward. I mean, it's up to you. You can try and make them larger if that's just what you really want to do. But you just put them here on the sheet. And this takes a little bit. All right, so once we have all of those balls prepared like that, in a double boiler, I'm going to put, now I'm doing this a little bit differently because I like making both the milk chocolate variety and the dark chocolate. You can also do this with white chocolate, like if you wanted to make it for a Halloween theme, you could make little eyeballs out of these or something like that. So it's really up to you how you want to decorate them. But this is milk chocolate that I have in here. And we have about 4 ounces in here, and I always put just a little bit of shortening with it. This is better flavored shortening, that's why it's yellow. And so we're going to be melting up the chocolate that we have here. I've already had this on for a little bit. It didn't just instantly melt, in case you're wondering. Alright, so once I have it melted, I just kind of tilt it up like this so that all of my chocolate kind of comes down here. It makes it easier for me to dip them. So we're going to take the chocolate, or take the ball and put it in the chocolate. And I usually just kind of spoon it over like that. And then I'm going to put it back on the prepared thing. Now you could put this on a cooling rack instead and let it drip through there. It's really up to you. It depends on how exactly fancy you want them to look. I don't care if there's a little bit of excess chocolate dripping at the edges of them. They're still going to taste the same anyway. So not getting too fancy with that. And then if you want, I'm just going to demonstrate with these couple of them to start with. And then if you want to decorate them in any way with like sprinkles of any sort, I've got some little Halloween colored sprinkles here. So I'm just going to put a few. You don't need a ton. Kind of make them a little bit festive, just like that. And we're going to repeat that for all of the balls. Okay, so once you have them all coated in chocolate, you can see that I used dark chocolate on the rest of them. Same thing, I just put 4 ounces-ish. I had a couple leftover things, and a small dab of shortening. Get them all coated like this, and then you're going to put them in the refrigerator for 10 minutes. And then after that, they'll be ready to serve. So I'll see you at final plating. All right, so here we are at final plating. So I put them in a container here because I had to. It's my cute little ghosty container that I like. It's also a baker, but I haven't had the chance to actually use it like that yet. So anyway, I actually went 15 minutes, but the recipe says a minimum of 10. After this, you are going to want to keep them in the refrigerator the whole time so that the chocolate doesn't get melty on you. You can leave them out for a little while, just don't store them that way. And I already know these are good, so I'm not going to do a taste test on camera, but I just wanted to make sure everybody has a really happy Halloween. And thank you again for joining me for another episode of Cuisine de Michel. Be sure to tell all your friends, share it, like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you happen to make these. Love to see it or tell me if you do a different version or if you make the eyeballs or something else out of them. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Au revoir.